Hello everyone, this video is a sequel to a previous video I've done about VenomFangX on his video called Proving the Bible is Inspired by God. In his video, VenomFangX tried to prove to us that the Bible is the inspired word of God, that the stories in the Bible are not just stories but actual events that really happen. What I want to do in this video is to elaborate on one specific point which I feel that I haven't done a good enough job in explaining. It's about VenomFangX's claim that the Bible knew all along that the earth is round. To prove this point, VenomFangX cited a verse from the Bible, which was Isaiah 40:22. He cited the verse as the following, quote, "He sits a throne above the sphere of the earth, and his people are like grasshoppers. He stretches out the heaven like the canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in." The point I was trying to make is not about the authenticity of the Bible, but rather that VenomFangX is guilty of being intellectually dishonest. I think there was a mixed up in my previous video and I didn't got that point across properly, so I'm going to do differently in this video. What am I trying to prove? I'm trying to prove that VenomFangX misquoted the Bible, but not only that, he misquoted the Bible deliberately, just to make his story more convincing. In this case, he's simply casually replaced the word circle with the word sphere. Okay, before I start, I have to point out that there's a big difference between a circle and a sphere. A circle is something like this. This is a circle, but it's a two-dimensional object, which is flat. If you say sphere, then it's something like this. Three-dimensional, and it is round. If the verse he quoted says circle, then we can say it refers to this, which is flat. But if this verse he quoted says sphere, then it's this thing. The sphere is, after all, quite explicit, and there's no way to dispute this point if the verse says sphere. Okay, let's begin. Before I start, let us look at the video in which VenomFangX was citing the verse in question.
It was written, "He, God, sits enthroned above the sphere of the earth, and its people are like grasshoppers. He, God, stretches out the heavens like a canopy and spreads them out like a tent to live in." Okay.
Okay, if you watch carefully, you can see that VenomFangX was moving his head and his eyes from left to right while he was citing the verse. This leads me to conclude that VenomFangX was actually reading from something while he was citing the verse. It seems very unlikely that he was citing from the top of his head. I mean, I'm not a psychology expert, but if I'm citing something from my head, I don't go like this. Even with my eyes go like this. If I'm doing something from the top of my head, I go like this, I look up, or at least I keep focus on one point. It requires some effort to cite something from my head. So it seems unlikely that he will move his eyes and his head from left to right if he was doing it from top of his head. He must be reading from something. At least that's my conclusion. So let's make that a premise for the rest of this video. So okay, he is reading from something. What is he reading from, we ask? As you can see from my previous video, none, absolutely zero, of the English Bible version that is available at bible.com contains the word sphere. So, what is he reading from? I've also checked other English versions online, such as biblegateway.com and bible.org, and none of the English versions there contains the word sphere as well. Of course, you don't have to take my word for it, just look at yourself, Isaiah 40:22. The websites are bible.com, biblegateway.com, and bible.org. Okay, so none of these versions contain sphere. And there are at least 14 different versions that we can check from, that none of it contains sphere. So which version of the Bible did VenomFangX read from? If you can also say, well, maybe he was reading from a version of the Bible that did contain sphere, but bible.com, etc. doesn't have it. If that's the case, well, that pretty much invalidates the point that he was trying to make. If there are at least 14 different versions of the Bible that contains the word circle, and there's one or maybe two or three versions that contains the word sphere, then we can assume that the more accurate translation from the original Hebrew is circle and not sphere. So that pretty much destroyed the point he was trying to make. You can also say, well, he was reading but he was not reading from the Bible, but he was reading from his own notes. In other words, he wrote it down, and that was what he was reading from. Well, the question still remains: which version of the Bible did he copy it from before he was reading from it? Which copy? Okay, here comes the final blow. We don't have to wonder which version of the Bible VenomFangX is reading from. We just have to check. And if you check the New International Version with what VenomFangX was reading from, you discover something quite astonishing. In fact, the verse that VenomFangX was reading from is identical with the New International Version. He reads every single word in the correct order, except of course the word circle has been replaced with the word sphere. Not only that, every single other word, from heavens to canopy to tent to stretches out, is exactly the same, except of course circle has been replaced with the word sphere. Well, this kind of reminded me of the Kitzmiller versus Dover trial back at 2005, where the intelligent design textbook of Pandas and People has been exposed as an creationist textbook, where they found out that cognizance of the word creation and creator has been replaced with the word intelligent design and designer. The only logical conclusion that they made there, and the same conclusion I'm going to make here as well, is that they deliberately did that. And in this case, yes, VenomFangX deliberately changed those two words without giving good explanation why. Okay, why am I saying that this is deliberate and not just some happy accident? Okay, like I said, he was reading while he was citing, so the words are right in front of him, and the chances that you make a mistake, especially in the keyword of your sentence, are very small. They are right in front of you. But you can also say, well, the word sphere and the word circle are so similar that he just made a mistake while he was reading. Well, that's possible, but if you check the other part of his video, he actually used the word spherical as well. So how do you make the jump from circle to sphere to spherical just like that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Also, while he was reading the verse, you can see that he emphasizes the word sphere. He actually says the sphere of the earth, and not just, he emphasizes it. So yeah, it is deliberate. It is very much deliberate. Okay, you can ask yourself, so what? So what if you done it? I mean, so what? So what if you deliberately exchange those two words? Okay, if you don't see the problem with that, then I suppose I can also change words as well. I can change the word heavens with the word hell, or tent with the word house, or maybe the word he with the word she. So the verse will become, she squats above the sphere of Mars, and his essays are like crickets. He pulls out the air like a blanket and threw him out like a crib for them to chill out in. If you still don't see the problem in that, then yeah, then you totally don't understand the meaning of intellectual honesty. Okay, why am I making this video? Am I against Christianity? Do I have a problem with Jesus? No, like I said in my previous video, I don't have a problem with Christianity per se. I do have a problem with liars though, and in my opinion, VenomFangX is disingenuous to say the least. And what really amazes me is that when you read his text comments of his video, so many different people praises him. So many different people goes like, whoa, excellent stuff, well done, keep up the good work, and best video ever on YouTube. So when I think about it, unless I'm wrong and unless I'm falsely accusing him, all these people just never bothered to double check the evidence to see if it's real. I mean, there's a saying, great claims requires great evidence, and apparently these people are willing to swallow great claims without great evidence. So yeah, that kind of freaks me out. And what else is also scary is VenomFangX fiddled with the evidence to try to convince other people, but you have to consider that he has already fiddled with the evidence to convince himself first before he did it. So yeah, that kind of crisps me out when I think about it. Anyways, I've nothing else more to say, and thank you guys for watching my video, and good luck.